When the leaders of 198 countries appended their signatures to the Paris Climate Agreement in 2015, it was hailed by its promoters as a historic turning point to save the world from incinerating itself. Before now, global warming had become a subject of major international discourse, political debates, and academic research. Activists were worried that the ice belts in the Arctic were melting rapidly and blaming it for the surge in the oceans and extreme temperatures in different parts of the world. The Paris Agreement was quite significant, with nations committing to keep global average temperatures from increasing by more than 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels by the end of the century, and to pursue efforts to keep that temperature rise below 1.5 degrees Celsius. Signatories were asked to implement their own emission reduction strategies. In June 2017, however, 2 years after the Paris Agreement was signed, former US President Donald Trump announced the withdrawal of the US from the Paris Agreement, the first nation in the world to do so, despite being the second biggest polluter after China, representing around 15% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Referring to the 2015 Paris Agreement as a draconian international deal, Trump, whose decision has since been reversed by his successor, said it imposed widely unfair environmental standards on American businesses and workers.
I am taking historic steps to lift the restrictions on American energy, to reverse government intrusion, and to cancel job-killing regulation.
For his supporters, the move was national interest at play, keying into his America First foreign policy election campaign slogan. His action received the applause from the coal miners who had been put out of work. Like Donald Trump, some other skeptics describe climate change as only a part of a natural cycle, casting doubts on the measurement models used by researchers, which they describe as largely unreliable. Other critics see it as an attempt towards a massive paradigm shift in technology and energy consumption, funded by huge Western capital, with the sole agenda of creating a new industrial revolution for profit.
Some people don't want anything to touch their profits. It doesn't matter whether the world is drowned or whether people die, but as long as the financial bottom line is not touched, some big, powerful nations and corporations are happy.
Within the scientific community, opinions are divided, but that in favor of climate change are more amplified, especially as figures continue to be churned out, indicating that global temperatures are much higher than it was half a century ago.
Generally, people think that climate change is just an abstract, but the happenings that we've observed and we've witnessed in the last couple of years are proving us wrong.
But for Nigeria and other developing economies who signed up to the Paris Climate Agreement, the issues are more complex. Nigeria's economy is heavily reliant on fossil fuel, the world's dominant energy source since the 1960s. With erratic power supply and poorly developed public infrastructure and transportation systems, fuel from crude is highly essential to keep industries, factories, and homes running. But the world has asked Nigeria and countries like it to switch its energy model in order to reduce global emissions. At the Paris conference, it promised to set up a green climate fund where the rich top emitters will contribute $100 billion per year to subsidize green energy and pay for other climate adaptation and mitigation programs in poorer nations. Nigeria gleefully signed up to this, but 7 years down the line, the promise has yet to come to fruition. This is why critics have slammed the climate change policy as one which seeks to make developing countries like Nigeria, where crude oil is pivotal to its energy needs and economic survival, become fully dependent on the West.
It's more glaring that the policy direction globally is leading the world to suicidal destinations, which means that the COP itself is not only colonial in nature, it's a failure.
Climate change is eating the resources of countries. There have to be support. There have to be support because when you are already into the boil of climate change, everything is let loose.
Here lies what some have described as the Western hypocrisy in the climate change narrative. 2021 data from Oxfam shows that the wealthiest countries are responsible for twice as much emissions as the poorest countries of the world, and that by 2030, their carbon footprints are said to be 30 times greater than the level compatible with the 1.5 degrees Celsius goal of the Paris Agreement.
Everybody is involved now. Okay, if you say it's a Western conspiracy, why is the flooding happening, the hurricane happening in Florida? The thing is that disaster is happening at a geometric progression, and our response is only in an arithmetic progression. So there's a gap.
As the 2022 floods have shown, Nigeria, like other poor countries, have continued to suffer the effects of what climate change advocates have been talking about, with over 600 people killed and thousands displaced.
Over 60 to 70 years now, I've never seen such a thing. So maybe it may have something to do with climate change.
This water confused us. It confused me, made me, I always forget what I'm supposed to do because my heart is not at peace.
So far, in line with its commitment to the Paris Agreement, Nigeria has developed policies towards achieving its nationally determined contributions, including the signing into law of the Climate Change Act 2021 and the inauguration of the National Council on Climate Change. The country has also set a target of achieving zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2060, with more investment in gas, which is considered a more cleaner source of energy.
Something that is going to be a system-driven choice, that the access to these less emitting activities.
As parties gather at Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt for the 27th Conference of Parties on Climate Change COP27, it presents yet another opportunity for developing nations to demand actions on promises made by the world's top emitters or consider taking necessary steps to prioritize their national interests. Nkoli Omoldu, AIT News, Abuja.